let's talk about mental changes that happen as part of prelapse. Well, some of the mental changes that we might have are the mind will romanticize about using and drinking again. Man, wouldn't it feel great to get some relief from this situation that is uncomfortable for me, this argument with my wife or with my friend, or this disagreement at work, any of those things. We'll start to be thinking about more and more now. Glamorizing how escaping reality would feel so good. The stress of life in general, and being able to just kick back and take it easy and not think about anything. That feeling of being subdued by whatever drug or alcohol or addiction or behavior or process addiction we might have used in the past. Next would be risky behavior, such as hanging out with old using friends or old using places. Now all of a sudden we're thinking it's safe. Gosh, my friend Bob does a lot of cocaine, but you know what? I've had 6 months of sobriety. Maybe I can hang out with him and it won't be a problem for me. And I won't use or I won't drink. That can be part of it. And planning how and when we'll pick up the drug or drink again with methodical rationalizations. So this would mean, gosh, if you lost your job too, like I did recently, you'd want to drink and use too. If your girlfriend broke up with you, you'd also want to drink or use. If you lost your apartment or your place to stay because they're selling the house or they're renting out the apartment to somebody else because you haven't been a good tenant, you would drink or use too. And so now we've rationalized our reasoning to go ahead and to go back out. And the final part of all of this is the actual relapse itself. Now, when we get into the signs of relapse, we're talking about things that many of us already know and have happened in the past. And what can be common is theft or asking to borrow money. Perhaps we spent all our money on drugs and now we're going to our friends and saying, hey, can I borrow $50? What is it for? Oh, I just need it for food, let's say. Okay, or we might be stealing from some of our friends or family members to pay for our habits. Changes in physical appearance. This can be many different things. We can start to look disheveled. Our eyes can be circles under our eyes. We're slurring our speech. We're stumbling around as we're walking. There are many different signs. It can be changes in our physical appearance. Compulsive behaviors. So for many alcoholics, especially for those that have addictions to methamphetamine or cocaine and alcohol, really struggle with compulsive gambling disorder. So now, besides drinking and using, we can find ourselves at the casino, spending lots of money there. Or we can find ourselves compulsively shopping, and that has become a big problem also. Denial or defensiveness. And so now people are bringing to their attention, gosh, Ron, you don't look all that great. What are you talking about? I was just up late last night. You're always telling me about how I look. How about the way you look? So now we're defensive about people that are noticing some of the physical changes they're seeing and the behavior changes in us. Next would be impulsive and rash actions. So if someone comes in and they say something and we blow it out of proportion and we may start yelling at them, or we may just turn our back on them and not even respond to them. What's that about? So we're struggling with regulating our behavior and our response to other people. Next would be mischaracterization of old habits. And this can be, man, I used to see you at the gym all the time, buddy. Where you been? Well, now I'm back home isolating myself. Maybe I'm playing video games all the time instead of going to work or spending time with my friends. And missing meetings, therapy, outpatient sessions. Hey, listen, when people start using and drinking again, the last place they're going to want to be is at meetings or in therapy sessions. Why? Because they want to be found out and they're uncomfortable. And then next, returning to former using contacts. We've said this before. This is now I've rekindled my relationships with my old using friends, and I'm spending a lot of time with them instead of attending to my recovery. And finally, we can talk about sudden mood changes and unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations could be, I can't believe my boss fired me. Okay, I didn't come back from lunch for a couple days in a row, but I think it's crazy. I've been there a long time. Perhaps my work performance is going backwards and I'm not doing my job as well as I used to in the past. So those are all parts of what happens when we relapse. Now, the significance of this, we're going to finish off today, is how do we get back? Once we've had a relapse, how do we get back into recovery? Well, that's what we're going to talk about now, finding our way back into recovery and what that means for us. And how to get back on the right track? Well, there's some things that we know. Taking action is the first thing. And in order to do that, we'll seek out support, people in the past, recalling our sponsor, connecting with them, our recovery friends. Maybe we'll call the treatment center we were at before. Maybe we need detox, right? So attend a self-help group, avoid triggers, avoiding people that we used to drink and use with, obviously, setting healthy boundaries. Mike, I know you're a normie and you don't drink and use addictively. However, if you're going to come over and spend time with me, I'll ask that you not be stoned or bring any cannabis with you or drink in front of me. Figuring out what led to relapse. So we have a thing we call relapse autopsy. We go back and we look, just as we did here in prelapse prevention, what were the signs that were showing up that led me eventually to drinking or using again. And then self-care. We all know the acronym HALT. Don't get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And so attending to that, and then don't beat yourself up. Okay, one of the biggest problems for folks is that they go to shame when they've gone back out. And when people go to shame, that's telling myself I'm not a good person, I'll never get this, I can't handle sobriety. I would rather you go to guilt, and guilt is I'm outside my values when I drink and use, and I'm not myself. And once I stop drinking and using, I now become a candidate for forgiveness, and I'm changing my behavior. And really, this is what this presentation is all about, catching ourselves and getting back into recovery as soon as possible. I'd like to finish with the last part here from our friend Deepak Chopra, and that is every time you're tempted to react in the same old way, ask yourself if you want to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future. Once again, this is Ron from Reflections, and hope you all have a good day. Thanks.